Namaste. Namaste to one and all. A very warm welcome to all our viewers to the 6th edition of the fortnightly Indic Samvad, brought to you by the Center for Consciousness Studies and Inner Transformation at Indic Academy. CCSIT is an endeavor to ensure that contemporary areas of psychology, management, and consciousness research is grounded in Vedic systems. The mission of the Center for Consciousness Studies and Inner Transformation is to enable leaders, coaches, and healers to transform themselves and to act in the world while being anchored in consciousness. We offer coaching programs and personalized sessions. We organize talks, retreats, workshops, and conferences. We are very blessed to have among us Shri Mandar Apte ji and Shri Raghu Ananthanarayanan, who's the co-founder at CCSIT. Namaste. Before we go into the Samvad, I would like to do a short invocation. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Today's talk is going to be in the area of leadership. It is specially named as Leading with Peace and Purpose. In a world where multiple vectors like climate change, unprecedented levels of war and conflict, rising diseases and ill health is so much prevalent, we often note that leaders are increasingly looking to redesign and reimagine their work, strategic plans, and more importantly, recalibrate their purpose and impact. During the course of our Samvad, Mandarji and Raghu will dialogue on what it means to take the wisdom of yogic practices in contemporary times. How can it transform the ways the human mind and societies can behave? With this, I would like to hand it over to Raghu, but before that, I would just like to introduce Mandar Apte ji. Mandarji currently manages the City for Peace, which is a strategic consultancy that promotes peace in cities worldwide. Prior to this, he has managed Shell's prestigious Game Changer social innovation program. While at Shell, Mandarji designed and facilitated an innovation learning program for over 2,000 colleagues. He is the producer and director of From India with Love, which is a documentary film to reinvigorate the message of non-violence or ahimsa in the world. Aligned with this mission, Mandarji hosted the inaugural World Summit for Countering Violence and Extremism, where he brought together peace activists and law enforcement executives from across the world in the spirit of promoting peace and compassion in the world. For nearly 2 decades, Mandarji has studied, practiced, and taught meditation for the International Association for Human Values and the Art of Living Foundation. With that, I would like to hand it over to Raghu.
Thank you, Namrata. Yeah, before we start, I would like to just share why Mandarji is such an important person for our discussions today. Yeah, normally, Mandarji, the reason why we want to have a dialogue with you is the popular narrative about yoga and various kinds of so-called meditation is generally what is called relaxation response. The world is very stressful, so do some chanting, do something, and Yeah, aram se get back, your pulse rate will come down, your heart rate will come down, all of that. Yeah, but you seem to be doing the opposite. You seem to be doing your meditation, and then you're going into inner city spaces, which are quite, the opposite, I guess, of meditation, right? The general understanding is that they're very violent spaces and so on. And I remember the Nike ad, which came out a while ago, right? Of these guys walking up, beautiful ad, but such powerful, uptight faces. And finally, you see them coming up and you see the Nike shoe. It was supposed to be an extremely powerful ad, but it really shows the inner city, what inner city is all about, and the tensions. And you seem to be going there after meditating. So we have to discover what is right with you in doing that. Why are you not doing meditation and going into relaxation response? Ye batao humko pehla. But before that, I think what we will do to get people to understand what we're talking about is also show a clip of your film. So the viewers get an understanding of what we're talking about and some sense of the work that you've done. Yeah, is that okay? Yes.
Since your question is about inner city work, the second video may be more interesting to show now, and the film will come as part of the second story.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
So I was bred into violence. It was terrible around here, because that's what we live for, violence.
We just knew violence. When someone did something wrong to me, my reaction was to do something violent.
In collaboration with the Los Angeles Police Department and the Mayor's Office for Gang Reduction and Youth Development, the Cities for Peace initiative of the Art of Living Foundation and the International Association for Human Values facilitated the NonViolence Ambassador Certification Program for the Harvard Park neighborhood in South Los Angeles that had experienced high rates of violence in the past. We invited LAPD police officers, community members, and former gang members who work as community intervention activists to participate in the program.
It's like the weight is being lifted off your back when you come from this experience. We carry a heavy load when we do community intervention work, and this lightens that load 100%.
Now my reaction is to forgive and say, you know what, maybe I can help him. Maybe that person is just having a bad day.
The program empowered these participants with profound breathing and meditation techniques to reduce stress, heal from trauma, and improve resilience.
We have learned that if we have peace within, we can definitely help others to get to the same place that we're in, which is peace without. And that is the extension of us, our communities, our homes, our facilities, our organization.
Through interactive discussions and group processes, the program helped build strong bonds between LAPD officers and community members.
But one of the most important factors that I found is the interaction that I have with the residents. And residents that live in this community that are experiencing the day-to-day violence that occurs here was one of the most phenomenal, life-changing experiences for me, because they saw firsthand that we're human. Taking this uniform off, we face similar challenges.
Participants were trained to facilitate an introductory module on nonviolence so that they can share the benefits of the program and become ambassadors of nonviolence in their communities and neighborhoods.
I'm a role model whether I want to be or not. So I got people following me down the negative path. So let me make that change and be that positive influence and provide tools for myself because I can't change nobody else. So that's why I chose to do the nonviolence ambassador training program.
Today, the 40 graduates, the people that went through the 8 weeks, I'm watching you guys today interact. I have gang interventionists talking to officers, talking to people from the community, and it's working. Right?
Are y'all ready to do some breathing? Yeah. Ready to do some breathing? Let's do this, man. This is what we learn. Last one. Break the breath out. Relax.
I just want to let you know I came up here to support you. To me, you're my brother, bro. We walk this path together, side by side.
Because we did it here, I think we can do it anywhere.
It almost feels unreal.
I was just thinking, who's that guy standing there, man, with all these big black guys and woof, yeah. So tell us, yeah, all about this. It'll be very interesting to hear.
I felt like a calling, I felt like I should go there. And it's not a coincidence, but this is the month, this is the day that I actually landed in Los Angeles 4 years ago.
Wow.
And I walked on the streets. I met with people, the people that you have in this video. They are all people I met. I went and met them in the neighborhoods. Like this man who is leading the Bastrika Pranayam at the end. His name is Andre Vickers. He is the leader of the Bloods gang. There are 2 big gangs in that South Los Angeles, Crips and Bloods. So he's a leader of the Bloods gang. I went to his neighborhood. I took him aside and I said, I'm here from India. I would like to share something with you. And if you like it, then we can do some work in your community. So I took him aside, shared with him Bastrika Pranayam. He did 3 rounds. He opened his eyes and he said, that was good. So I said, Andre, you know, I'm coming here with no agenda. I have no agenda. I'm here to be of service because trauma, if we do not heal ourselves, it will perpetuate. That I have experienced. So if you practice this for 5 days, and if you like it after 5 days, call me. That same work I did in the police department, of course, without telling Andre. I went to the police department and again, I met somebody who was interested. I did an introductory program there. And I said, at the end of this 5 days, if you like it, let's do something together. But I didn't tell them that I'm going to bring them together in the program. So, you know, that was for me, I think the humblest thing I've done in my adult life is to reimagine in a place where when you go to Los Angeles, you don't go there to look at South Central LA. You go to look for Hollywood, go to Venice Beach. But this is the neighborhood that changed my life. So this is a community that, you know, I don't know, sitting here even now, I have taught hundreds of people in that neighborhood online over the internet. There's some association for me, I think, with Los Angeles. And these are, you know, unfortunate victims of violence in their own childhood, in their own life. Their stories they have shared with me, because we are not just yoga teacher and student, we are friends. And, you know, the life story I went through 17 years ago, Andre went through the same life story. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Can you share some of these stories with us? It'll be very interesting to hear, yeah? It doesn't, you know, we don't have to obviously know who it is, but it'll give us a flavor of the kind of transformations and all that you're talking about.
So I taught one, I mean, they are gang leaders, but they are friends of mine. So I would not use gang leader from here on. But they are leaders of their own communities. Yeah, they are massive leaders with a lot of influence. So this one person that I know very well, he spent 44 years in prison. And at that time, I was 45. Like this was 3 years ago. So I was 45. He spent 44 years in prison. He, of course, did the Art of Living program, the Kriya and the Pranayama and all that. And we shared our life story. We became good friends. We had a 3-hour Zoom call. I shared my story. He shared his story. Very similar story. So, okay, I asked him, how did you get into this? Because he used to sit inside prisons and control everything that happens outside. Like Queen Bee. He's like a Queen Bee of that. It's a very dangerous gang. So this is what he shared. He said, Mandar, when I was 17 years old, I saw on my street in the house child trafficking. So I went and questioned that man. And in that argument, I couldn't stand what he was doing. So now, you know, I asked myself, would you want a Philip on your street for the safety of your own children and women and friends? I would say, yes, I would like Philip on my street. He will protect. But I think that is where law takes a different shade. And, you know, sometimes it's very unfortunate. These are very unfortunate beginnings. At 17, once you go in the prison, then, you know, you get sucked into the gang life and drug life.
Yeah.
But compassion, like, you know, I have learned compassion from these folks.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And you cannot fake when you go in these neighborhoods. You cannot. You will. They will smell it.
They'll catch.
They will smell it. They will smell it. So at the end of my workshops, you know, I asked them this question, Raghu, which maybe I would love to know if there is any analogy for it. It just came up in one of their sessions. I said, have you all sold drugs on the street? And so they raised both hands. So I said, that means you know the art of selling. Can you help me sell peace?
Beautiful.
And that's where they, you know, have a twinkle in their eye. And I say, hey, from here on, you are no longer the former gangster, the formerly incarcerated person. You are now an ambassador of peace, and you are very rare in this world of pain and trauma and war. So this is where your commitment will come in. And then one more story. This guy, Andre, my program was 8 weeks. 8 weeks. At the end of 8 weeks, I trained them to teach pranayama to others. And if they train, then I certify them as an ambassador of peace. That's the program that I have created. 8 weeks. First day, I said vegetarian food. Okay, so it'll be good if you are on a vegetarian diet. And little bit I gave them, like, you know, we are not carnivores. Our system is made for vegetarian food. And what is meat? It is dead flesh. It's no prana, no energy level. Then they ask about protein. I say, oh, there are healthy ways of having protein. This discussion happens on day 1. I don't bother in their life after that. I asked them 8 weeks later. Only the gang affiliated people had maintained that vegetarian diet for 8 weeks. And I just got off my seat and I bowed to them. I just bowed to them. And I asked them, Raghu, why did you do it? And what did you eat? So Andre said, I have never had a meal without chicken. I said, what did you eat then? He said, I followed what you said. I ate rice and beans, bread and jam, milk and cereal, repeat. So I said, why did you do it? You didn't have to do it. I wouldn't come and check on you. You know what he said? He said, we want to do this 100%.
Phenomenal, yeah.
So now tell me, who is a better seeker? Somebody who lives in urban locations or somebody who has gone through the pain and trauma in life? They met a complete stranger. I taught them this. They liked it. And they continued on this 8-week journey.
Fabulous.
So it's unbelievable. You know, we are sitting on a wealth of knowledge here in this country and practitioners of yoga worldwide. I think we have to ask ourselves, what is our purpose? What is the purpose of my life? What impact do I need to make? And I tell you what I have discovered for myself, at least myself. There is pain everywhere. Like, so you go to corporate life, there is pain. But if you go at the border of possibility and impossibility, and you find these South Central LA type of neighborhoods, you will enjoy your yoga practice also even more.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if there is any analogy to this in the scriptures, but true fulfillment will come to you. Contentment will come to you.
Yeah. No, there are lots of analogies, and I'm just reminded of the work I used to do with people who are now called Dalits. At that time, you know, they did not become such a popular word, and yeah, I've seen how deeply they suffer, what kind of violence they receive, and many of them retain an extremely compassionate core of themselves, and it's just inspiring to see how much they can hold. Quite incredible. And many of the, I mean, even Valmiki was, the story of Valmiki is this, that he's a robber, and then he meets the Saptarishis. They tell him to meditate on the word Ram, and then there's a whole story about this.
Angulimal also is the same, right?
Angulimal. Many people like that. Yeah, and what you're saying is right. They've been hurt at some point of time, and they have a deep compassion. Many of them are capable of very deep commitment to things. And that's a strength. If you flip it around, like you're saying, can do fantastic things. But
one more story comes to my mind.
Please, yeah.
I became very good friends with the leader of another gang. My parents were visiting me in LA that time.
Okay.
And you know, they are middle class people, working life, retired. So my dad was asking me, what do you do? Like, you quit your job at Shell and you're doing this yoga training in gangs. Like, I want to meet some of your people. So I said, okay. So I did a Indian lunch. I invited this one gentleman and his girlfriend, both gangsters, former gangsters, and my parents. And we sat down, we had a thali. So my dad is asking this person, Rudy, why did you join a gang? And he has never met my dad before. It's the first time he has met him. But he's Mandar's student, Mandar's friend, like Mandar's friend. He speaks these words. He says, Papa, they were my friends. They cared for me. My father was never home. I didn't see my father. These guys cared for me. They were my friends. So I went. Rudy has spent 34 years in prison. Out of that, 7 years was in solitary confinement. And the kind of experience he has had when he has learned his pranayama is unbelievable.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
Unbelievable. Because these guys are rishis, Raghu.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have just sat in the prison. Sat. And one more story, Jaime, another gang member, gang leader, Los Angeles, my friend, Jaime. Jaime does the pranayama. And Jaime comes to me at the end of the event, and Jaime says, "Hey Mandar, in prison, I used to have this feeling that me and my thoughts are two different things." That's what he experienced when he was doing pranayama, that he was able to observe his thoughts. I pulled him aside and I said, "Jaime, you are very rare.
Yeah, this is incredible.
You are very rare." So, I feel like these are the people that are truly in need, in search. And we have to do more. We have to do more for these people who are in need. Like, everybody is in need for sure. But as a yogi, whoever is listening, I would say find your own calling. So don't copy what I did. Find your own calling and always stretch yourself to the border of Sambhav and Asambhav, because in that is your growth. Okay, so what is your growth? What is my growth? Is today, having done the work in that neighborhood, a sense of ease has come, a sense of naturalness has naturally come. I have not tried it, but today I tell you, if you take me to a black man, white man, green man, red man, yellow man, I will be at complete ease, and I will be able to connect with them. We can be at ease, but we have to make them feel at ease. Right? As a yogi, that's our responsibility.
Absolutely.
We are doing our sadhana, we are at ease, there's no big deal. Wherever we go, we have to make other people also feel at ease. That is where, that asambhav, like, I don't think I can do it. That's what you should do, because in that is your growth.
Beautiful. You've illustrated a lot of Yoga Sutras also, Mandar, while you're talking, because one of the key practices that is recommended in yoga is Maitri, Karuna, and your ability to have what is called Sahridayatva, where you meet heart to heart with somebody, and then all kinds of possibilities just open up. You don't have to do anything more than that.
What is the meaning of the word mudita? Is that contentment or no?
It's celebration in a sense.
Celebration.
Yeah. So the sutra says, when the other person is in sukha, practice maitri. When the other person is in dukkha, bring up karuna.
Karuna.
Right? In your stories, you talked about both, how you've been happy with them, how you brought karuna to them. And when they're doing good work, right, you celebrate. And if they do negative things, don't judge them. Watch, see them, look at them. And one of the people in your short film, they talk about this, that look at him, maybe he had a bad day, he says, instead of getting angry, instead of getting reactive. Right? That's quite phenomenal that this kind of thing is happening.
Just a funny story, like my nephews at that time were 11 and 8, and they live in New Jersey. And they were visiting Los Angeles for their holiday, family holiday. And my elder nephew just cracked a joke. He said, we are very safe in Los Angeles because Mama has friends on both sides.
Yeah. See, the other thing also that you're speaking about, which is very important, Mandar, is when we are able to awaken these 4 things, which are called Brahma Viharas and all that, we are able to be friends, like Sakhi. Friend is a strange word, yeah? Sakhi, to anybody whom we meet. Yeah, so we can look at them with compassion. We can look at them as human beings, right? So these are very important practices in yoga. Asana practice and all that is not as important as some of these practices that are talked about. Yeah.
Sakha bhav, is that what you're saying? Sakha bhav.
Sakha Bhava. Sakhi, it's usually referred to as Sakhi Bhava because it's a feminine trait.
It's a feminine
and
trait.
all that. It is Sakhi Bhava.
Okay.
Right? And Sakshitva, Sakshi Bhava. Sakshi Bhava is your ability to just be meditatively watch. And what you're talking about, I'm able to see that me and my thoughts are not the same. These are all very critical things of Sakhi and Sakshi Bhava. There's one more intriguing thing for me, Mandar. In the film, in the back, there is Gandhiji's picture and there is King.
Mandela and King.
No. There was, it wasn't Mandela, if I remember right. It was Martin Luther King.
The backdrop behind the logic behind that picture is like Gandhiji and the shadows, King and Mandela.
King and Mandela. So what is, can you just elaborate on that? I don't know if people understand the connections between them. And also King, there is a whole story about Martin Luther King and his mentor, who actually helped him to see non-violence and so on. So if you can elaborate on that and your connection with Martin Luther King, that'd be nice.
So 7 years ago, I just, in my daily meditation, I had a vision of Martin Luther King in India. So I have never seen any colors or anything in my meditation practice. But I saw this, experience of a journey in India that Martin Luther King has made. And he comes back with a smile on his face. That was the vision I saw in a deep meditative state. And I was coming out of that, my sadhana. And before I opened my eyes, I said, what was that? And the next thought that came was, if that is true, then it will be a Bollywood story. It's an Amitabh Bachchan story. Like these people in those days were called, the N-word. And what experience he must have received in India with the welcoming, with the, receiving. And I opened my eyes with that state. And then I went on Google and I searched. And there is a can of worms that day I saw. That young Martin Luther King was told by his mentor, his name is Reverend Jim, it'll come to me, it's not Jim Lawson. Yeah, it's Jim Lawson. Reverend James Lawson, sorry, not Jim Lawson. James Lawson, who is alive, who I have also met.
Oh, wow.
He must be 90, 92, 93, 95, like that age. He lives in Los Angeles. I have met him. He told Martin Luther King that if you want to use non-violence as an approach, you have to go to India to learn from India. Because James Lawson had also come to India when Gandhiji was alive. Then Montgomery bus boycott has happened, 1955. Rosa Parks, like all these people have used the non-violence approach in that boycotting the bus. And Martin Luther King takes a 5-week trip to India in 1959, is what I read. There is also a talk he gave on All India Radio. That is also available online. I heard it. Now, the dot I connected was 1959 means Gandhiji was dead. So Martin Luther King and Gandhiji never had a Starbucks chat. Like, please tell me, what did you do? Like, educate me. Like, none of this happened.
Correct.
But he has traveled to the length and breadth of this country for 5 weeks. Chennai, Bombay, Gujarat, Wardha, East Coast, Calcutta, North India, Delhi, everywhere. He writes about, he says, to any other country, I would go as a tourist. Here, I have come as a pilgrim.
Beautiful.
So now if you connect the dots, what happened that day for me was, oh my God, India's people have influenced him. experiencing India's culture has influenced him.
Brilliant.
And if that culture is still alive, then can it inspire America of today to also promote non-violence? Because as you know, there is massive violence in the United States.
Yeah.
School violence being one of the things that media stories share.
Yeah.
So that day I decided to do an experiment. It was an experiment. The hypothesis is India is the place where transformation happens. If I bring people who have gone through life situations, they are looking for transformation, then they should find it here, just like Martin Luther King also discovered.
That's right.
And so between that time of having the vision and finishing a 10-day journey with 6 complete strangers, I didn't know them. This took me 5 weeks. So for me, it was like I was living the 5-week experience. And so now you can play that trailer, Namrata. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
This time, gunfire aimed at elementary school children. There are 27 victims, 20 children, 7 adults.
Violent weekend in Chicago has left 11 people dead and 60 wounded in shootings across the city.
Then at 8:45, just a mile from City Hall, shots ring out.
The person who has influenced my life in terms of action more than anybody is Mahatma Gandhi.
I fear that I will bury one of my sons. I fear that.
A kid who had a bad childhood, who was in a lot of pain, and wanted the whole world to feel that pain.
One of my children dying, being brutally murdered.
Being here in India for this time has been spaciousness to breathe and to slow down.
That's the rebirth, baby. So you come back to life.
Choose love.
Beautiful. So take us through some of the stories, Mandar. Yeah, I've heard it from you before. I've seen the film. I think I can listen to it 100 times.
Every time somebody asks me, I'm jumping on it because the more I tell, the more I remember. Otherwise, I will also forget. So this film trip started yesterday, 7 years ago. So again, very coincidental.
Brilliant. Yeah.
That 6 people came to India on a trust of a FaceTime call with me to walk in the footsteps of a great man 60 years ago. But behind the scene, I had spoken to 35 victims of violence because, it's like nobody will say yes immediately. And I was in India when I started this project. I was on a 1-month holiday. So I thought, let me just do it now because then I don't need to come back again. So I wanted to get it done in 1 month. That was the drive behind it. The first call I made, Raghu, was with somebody called Michael Brown Sr. He's the dad of Michael Brown Jr., known for the Ferguson riots, the Black Lives Matter, the big riot that happened in Ferguson, Missouri. He was killed by a police officer. The first call that the universe opened the door for me was with Michael Brown Sr., the dad. And I told him the idea that, okay, Martin Luther King, you can also come with me. He said, when is the trip? I said, Michael, now, because I'm already here. He said, no, I cannot come, I'm busy. But that call told me that Mandar Apte, petroleum engineer, Shell, Houston, had no business with Michael Brown Sr., the person who America knows. So that day I felt like maybe there is a message here that the universe is supporting me. Second call I made was with another dad. His only daughter was murdered live on television. She was a news anchor.
Oh my God.
And we all in America have seen this story because it was a story a few months before. So the second call I made, the universe opened the door, was with Allison Parker's father.
Oh.
And so that day I told him, I'm also a father. I don't know what to say, but I'm just going to be honest and authentic what I'm doing. If it agrees with your conscience, please do what you need to do. So he and his wife also considered but couldn't come. We are still friends. Like, these are relationships that, are not just for film's sake. These are like lifetime relationships. The 6 people that you see in the film, they said they will come. So I paid for that trip. I paid for the 10-day journey. And I just lucked out because there are white people, black people, brown people,
Mexican.
There are victims of gun violence, there are perpetrators of gun violence. Like, it's the universe has corroborated this. And they came to India. The first thing that the mother from Sandy Hook observed, her flight was coming at 11 p.m. It delayed, 4 a.m. She was shocked to see Mandar Apte, the person she had seen on FaceTime, still at the airport to receive her. And so she said, Mandar, I'm just shocked. Like, I thought I will meet you tomorrow. And I said, Scarlett, in our culture, we go to receive our guests. So yes, I came at 10:30, but how can I go back? Like, I stayed here. Her luggage did not come. So for 3 days, we have shopped for Scarlett every day. And this. Shall I tell the story at the Jama Masjid?
I think so, yeah. I think so. That is really, really something.
Yeah, so I think that story, maybe I'm looking at the audience. They are mostly people from India. So we can see it's possible. So this is what happened. We were at Jama Masjid, the second day of the trip. And I was the production assistant. I was the, spot boy, water boy. So I told them, you meditate here. I've taught you some exercises. You sit in the masjid on the top. I'm not a Muslim. You are not a Muslim. But this is a prayer place. So just pray for world peace. That's what I told them. And I went to do my own work. I came back 30 minutes later. The lady from Sandy Hook, who had lost her son in the shooting, she came back gasping. She was gasping. And I was really concerned, like, what happened to this, good-looking white lady? I was scared at that moment. She said, I was looking for the feathers because my 6-year-old boy who was murdered, liked feathers. So wherever I travel, I try to get feathers. And the feathers were being blown away by the wind. So she couldn't get the feather, but she was running after the feathers. Few minutes later, Jason, the guy with the former gang background from Los Angeles, he comes from a different direction with a feather on his ear. And he says, Scarlett, this is for you. And I'm shocked. I looked at Scarlett. She's shocked.
Obviously, yeah.
And we said to him, where did you get this? She said, where did you get this? And Jason very coolly, he says, you know, Mandar told us to go sit and pray for world peace. I was sitting there. Your son came and sat next to me. And he said, my mother is looking for a feather. And so here I am.
Wow.
So for me, it was clear, like, okay, ऐसा हो सकता है, ऐसा हमने सुना है, but मैंने आज देखा है. And this was not a one-time thing because I was his roommate for 10 days in the trip. He got these messages very often from the spirit of this young 6-year-old to give to his mom.
Incredible.
I think because these guys, you know, they are from the streets, they are hollow and empty, they are raw, they are loving. And so I think this, whatever energy flow happens through that channel, which is, I would say love and compassion is that channel. Like, you know, when you are in deep love with someone, you do have that feeling that, okay, something doesn't seem to be right with my mother today.
Yeah.
Or my friend today. I think that's the principle. Huh? So please explain if there is any like theory behind what I saw.
Theory is what, yeah, that when you lose, it's very, very direct and simple in the yogic theory, na? That we are not this billiard ball separate entities. That we're all deeply connected, and there are technical terms for it. There's Vishesha and Avishesha. If I'm open to the more subtle levels of myself, I go beyond time and space, and all these things will happen.
So Raghu, I just had a brainwave. I felt like, okay, these stories that you're asking me, great. These are great stories. But what the hell does it have to do with leadership and peace and purpose? Okay.
Correct. I was going to say.
I feel.
What do you think it has to do with leadership? No, let's.
Yeah, I feel that these leaders of today, who are, you can be political leader, business leader, NGO leader, anybody with influence is a leader. So a nurse could be a sports star. Anybody is a leader. And today the challenges are so complex.
That's right.
That a leader needs to know two things. One, people are looking up to them for some action. And second, more important thing, the problems of today cannot be solved with the consciousness that has created the problem. So they will have to transport themselves.
Correct.
I don't know, transport is a bad word, but check out. They have to check out, disassociate themselves from the world, from the material world. And just like a vision came to me from my meditative practice, guided me on what to do. I'm not a filmmaker, but I got it done. That's where the leadership dimension needs to be searching for, is how do I check out? How do I disengage? I think that is where the wisdom of yoga, meditation, and India comes very, very important. Absolutely. So that it is not just a yoga mat, like my American friends. Say, I have a yoga class, 4 to 5 p.m. I am just looking forward to that. I'm like, no.
No, yeah, that is not yoga at all. Huh? Yoga is the engagement with the world. Nah? That's what the Gita teaches. At the end of the Gita, Arjuna goes and fights. Except that he is engaging with the world from a completely different space. Nah? See, one of the things that you're talking about, Mandar, which is very important and very difficult, in this Jason example you were saying and all that, no? That unless from inside me, I'm willing to be vulnerable and open to influence. Much of what you're saying, to be at the edge of something, you have to give up all your clinging to safety, clinging to this, clinging to that, and go to that edge. No? That, I think, is very critical for leadership. Yeah, I was just wondering if we can open this scene out for some of the people, participants to ask questions, because we've had a lovely discussion. Otherwise, we'll just get lost in our dialogue. Yeah. Namrata, can you?
Yeah.
And it'll be nice if we can have the person pop up on the screen and ask the question, if that's possible.
We may not be able to do that.
You won't be able to do.
Yeah.
Okay. There are any questions? Can people ask the question at least? And
Sure. You can type in your question, the chat.
Okay. I have a feeling people would have been so fascinated they won't have any questions. Yeah.
Maybe Namrata has a question. Why don't we ask Namrata?
Yes.
I think for me, the whole question is, how do you, I mean, there is so much violence. I mean, how do you, what is it within you that helps you to give you that sense of newness and that sense of inner healing to deal with this external violence? Because when I saw that video itself, I think I got very triggered, because I am not so much someone who can even view a lot of violence. There is someone like you who's so deeply into these spaces. I understand it is your practice, but how has it healed you? How has that healed you?
If I can add something here,
Yeah.
When I've worked with Dalits and people who've been victims of violence, and of course, I've listened to similar stories of people who've gone into Kati, fights with all that in the villages. When you listen to that story, if you really live through the story with them, I don't think I would have done anything different. So it's not as though that person and those kinds of responses are separate from me or inhuman in some way. Yeah, I remember stories of a parent in one of my labs. In a gang fight, his hut was burnt down and his child got killed. What do you expect this person to do, yeah? Right? So when he comes and he speaks about his sorrow and what happened to his child, I have to listen to him. I'll listen to him for 8 hours that evening to help him to really find some way of becoming, a little more human. Again, he was just stuck. Why wouldn't he be? Yeah. So I think, the way I'm hearing Mandar and all that is that when I stop saying that my life has to be, I have to live and I have to live well, you drop that and you become vulnerable and say, I'm human and I'm lucky where I am, and let me listen to other people and see what I can do from where I am. You can listen. When you can really deeply listen to that, there is healing for me and for him.
Yeah, Namrata, but your question is very powerful. So, it's not like milk and curd. It's milk, curd, sometimes milk. That's the process, I think. So
and
the more
finally,
time,
be enlightened.
the more time you spend in knowledge and wisdom and contemplation and service and satsang, that's part of the cooking process, right? Acceptance process. My fascination for the wisdom that my guru Shri Ravi Shankar ji has imparted to me, it's through personal conversations, because I'm a teacher for 20 years, and the reason I feel a need of a guru, and guru simply means a friend, okay, it's just a friend. Sakha, I think the word is sakha. For me, it's sakha, like best friend. Where you have both love and respect both. That beautiful point. We should at least have one or two people in that point. And it doesn't have to be a man with white clothes and a beard, right?
Hey, I think beard is important, Mandar, just because you don't have one.
No, so I think, Namrata, your answer to your question is, like, find somebody that will help you in your own healing process, will help you to recalibrate in your own by simple things like, hey, Mandar, come, let's go for an ice cream. What happened? Let's go. They just allow you to be yourself. Because in the end, Namrata, I don't think anybody can heal anybody else. You have to do it. It is a work. And, like we have 7 layers of our existence: body, breath, mind, intellect, memory, ego. Beyond that is the self. So the more time you check out, which is you're gone, not sleeping gone, but transcended, gone. You're in whatever ether space. That is accelerating the healing process.
Very nicely put. That's true.
You have to keep going to that space. It's like a madhumaki going in the zoo and coming out, like,
There are some questions, Mandar. One is about whether pranayama has given that extra energy to face abnormal. I don't know if they're abnormal people. They're normal people with abnormal experiences.
But I have also trained about 2,000 people within Shell. So maybe she refers to that.
That was going to be my question too.
Yeah, so that was very interesting work, Raghu, because in 2010 or 2012, when I started this program inside Shell, Shell is not a Google, it's not a front end like Bay Area company. So it's all roughnecks, oil and gas platforms, refineries.
Yeah.
But as a petroleum engineer, I never met anybody evil. I met always good people who, go for 8 o'clock, they reach at work, 5 o'clock they leave, they go on holidays, they go for movies, they garden at home. So I always felt that we have a wrong perception of industries, okay, oil industry. But people in the industry are normal people. They're not evil. Okay, maybe some people maybe, but most of the people are like me, is what I felt. So I designed a program for the admins, people who are admins. That was the first tactical thing I learned. Is the first experiment, if you do it with admins, they are 99.999% women. And pranayama will help them heal their emotions. Women carry a lot of emotions. And that day in the Shell headquarters, many of these secretaries cried. And they asked me, how can we help you? This is so good. So I said, you can tell me where not to go. Because the admin is the bottom of the food chain in any organization, right? And she knows how to bring the abnormal people together. So the admin is a very powerful strategic ally. If you know the admin, your work is done. So pranayama practice does give you energy, Satya Prakash. And Satya Prakash, MN means Minneapolis, Minnesota, or is it initials?
Initials, I think.
Okay.
I think those are initials.
Okay.
Yeah. So then there's another question, nah?
Mandarji just mentioned that you are taking us on a very different tour. Mandarji just mentioned that leadership needs to check out from the material world to be able to lead efficiently. He needs some more elaboration on this to be able to guide myself first and then the leader with whom I work. Yaneshwar Netharji.
Yaneshwar, beautiful name. Beautiful, beautiful name. I mean, the answer is obvious. You have also experienced it. You know, if you have gone through life, you have come across problems. Only when you have a good night's sleep, you wake up fresh in the morning, you can deal with the problem. Have a cup of tea, you will deal with the world. That's what I mean by taking a time off, right? So meditation is sleeping consciously. So bottom line is meditate every day. Bottom line. Take time for yourself every day.
Mandar, I think you need to explain the word meditation a little bit, because for most people, nah, guided meditation, sitting, saying Om is meditation. The word meditation, just like asana and pranayama, has been diluted out of its power. Nah?
So my understanding of meditation, because meditation is just like sports. There are different types of sports. You choose the sport that is good for you. Like if you have tennis elbow, you can't play tennis. You can play chess. Meditation in the Vedic tradition, which I am part of, simply means the art of doing nothing. It is not concentration. It is not focusing. It is defocusing, deconcentrating, letting go. And that requires some skill, right? Because when you sit, thoughts come.
And your anxiety will tell you what next to worry about.
Yeah, so the thought stream can also trick you, right? You will see, okay, I need to sleep now because tomorrow I have to get up early. And then, you know, when I get up, what will I have for breakfast? I need cereal. Then I need milk. Like all these things are chain of thoughts. That's not meditation practice. That's drama. Like you are building a movie, a nice feature film. Right? So that is where you need to learn some skill. Just like you don't get a soccer ball and say, I play world soccer. No, you have to have techniques, a coach, some practice. And then with practice, somebody will select you. That is where a technique and a teacher will help you go into that art of doing nothing. Like, for example, good thoughts come, you are smiling like, wow, amazing. But suddenly some bad thoughts come and you are saying, no, get away. I need to meditate. You know, I have to check out. Then you are doing something. You are becoming a passport officer, visa officer. Certain passports are allowed. Certain passports not allowed here. So these are some, you can say, you know, if it excites you, come, I'll share what I have learned. Sudarshan Kriya practice will absolutely help you because it's a very smart way of getting people to meditate. It's using breathing. You feel like you're doing something. It transports you to a state that you can't describe. And it's not pranayama. Pranayama is holding the prana, right? It's holding the prana. So Sudarshan Kriya is using the rhythm of the breathing. The rhythm of the breathing you have observed changes, right? Whether it's a happy emotion, sadness, anger, frustration, all these emotions, they have a very specific breathing pattern. So using the reverse logic, using the breathing patterns, you empower yourself to delete your unwanted emotions. And coming back to, okay, what the hell does it have to do with leading with peace and purpose? I just thought about this. Purpose is in America a very big word today. Very big word. People will ask, hey, what's your purpose? What's your organizational purpose? Actually, when you ask an enlightened person or somebody who has studied life, hey, Guru, what is my purpose? The Guru is never going to tell you. And whoever tells you is not your Guru. The Guru is only going to make you go through certain things, whatever tasks, whatever word you may call it, to learn what is not your purpose. So sitting and complaining is not my purpose. Getting angry is not my purpose. Revenge is not my purpose. When you make that checklist of what I am not here for, then you arrive at a place what you are here for in life. That is an aha moment that nobody should rob away from anybody else. It's a personal journey. So why is meditation important? Because when you disengage, is when you access a stream, a field of consciousness, whatever you call it, whether you believe it or not, some higher power. Actually, there is no higher or lower power, but let's say higher power. That, that force is going to give you that, what is the next thing for you? And there is no explanation. Like, if this makes you interested, reach out.
That's right. You'll have to practice it.
Yeah.
Can we go to Sayantan's thing? He's asking some big questions about structures and institutions. Maybe wants structures and institutions to do Bhastrika Pranayama. I don't know.
Is the space of a healer or compassion enough for one once they have found their calling and service? Isn't the space of a warrior or courage also necessary to change the structures and institutions that also replicate suffering, regardless of the people, good or bad in them? How do we keep this warrior rooted in compassion, despite so much of rage and vengeance one feels for the people who have done others wrong? Any practices from yoga that you recommend?
Last answer I definitely have, meditation. Okay, and interesting, very interesting. I really love your question. I really love it. I really, really love it. I understand the depth of it also. It's long, but I understand it. Frustration will lead to anger. Anger will lead to clouding your judgments. And it will create a negative cycle. So what your responsibility is to make sure that you are breathing out any negativity that is accumulating in you every day. Just like you brush your teeth every day, the responsibility you need to have is to make sure you are not sleeping carrying negative energy in you, whether it's frustration, jealousy, anger, etc., etc. But a change maker, this warrior you are referring to, change making is not easy. It is a marathon. It's a long journey. So frustration is what I feel you should be careful. If you want to change and the other person is a moron, they don't get it, that frustration and judgment will come in your consciousness. Deleting it is your responsibility, so that you are not judging that person, even though he is a moron. Okay, yes, he's a moron, he doesn't get it. You can't have that in your conscience, because just like you will change, life will make him change also at any point. You have no idea. And it is a long journey. So yes, it needs both compassion and courage. And the third C is commitment, not giving up.
Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Adara Asevito Drida Bhumihi.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I read this in your book, and I feel that shloka, that line sticks with me. Satkara sevita, satu dirgha kala. How much kala? No clue. Satu dirgha kala. Yeah. So Sayantan, beautiful question. Please connect with me. I would love to. You are a very deep person. So
That's because he's been engaging with me for some time, Mandar.
oh, okay. No wonder. No wonder. No, he's very articulate also. Like what he has conveyed is very articulate.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the last answer is the crucial, is the daily meditation practice. Daily not doing anything. Sudarshan Kriya will definitely help.
But he's talking about structures, no? He's
talking about a warrior courage, the courage to break.
That he's talking about, boss. But what about structures? How to change structures and institutions? Because what I hear you saying is you can't change structures and institutions. You can change the people who create structures and institutions.
Correct. It's like matrix. It's like Shell Oil. There is nothing Shell Oil. It's people. And so as a change maker, if you want to be a change maker, then you have to be smart, tactical. If this doesn't work, you have to pivot, get the job done. All this will come with your internal work. You will meet the right people at the right time. And so managing your frustration, like that's why your question is very powerful.
Correct.
Because when I taught at Shell, 2,000 people I taught at Shell, it was not easy. Not at all. Not at all. But I used my yukti. I used my skill. You have to speak the language of the organization. And at the end of it, I wrote a blog that, the dance tango. You have to learn the tango dance. And then I have explained what TANGO is. This would apply for any change maker, right? You have to respect the boundary of what the system will allow you to do. But you have to be a rebel, because otherwise status quo remains. And you have to be a tempered rebel. Little bit tempered on your rebelliousness. And tactical. So, yeah, it's like those are the misfits. If you, Namrata, in the backdrop, if you can just search for the Apple ad, misfit ad, we can play it at the end of our session, because that is my favorite ad. You know what I'm talking, Raghu?
No, it will be
Oh my God. So we will play this when we end. So
okay.
1 minute ad. Namrata, just search for it. Apple ad misfit.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question at the bottom. In the sessions with inner city people in LA, what were the people's takeaway, especially the people who had a violent past? Were they similar or different from the program goals? Story. So I started the program by asking people, what is vitamin A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P? What is vitamin P? And many people said peace and whatever, P, whatever. And I said, P stands for participation. So I'm going to be your teacher, but I'm not a teacher. I'm sharing what I've learned. If you do not participate, you will not get anything out of it. So it's like life is miserable. If you participate, you can convert that misery into insights or whatever. In same way, life is party. If you party, you're missing out. You are not experiencing the joy. You're drinking whatever, it's gone. So participate. And I told them, now you are going to meet each other and say, I belong to you. Both. That is how Art of Living workshops start worldwide. I don't know if you have done the workshop or not. It's such a profound process. But I had never done this process with opposites. So that's Tom and Jerry. It's like Tom and Jerry meeting and saying, I belong to you. So 20 minutes happened and I made them everybody sit down and I said, hey, how was your experience? So this one gang leader, 12 years in prison, she looked at the hall and she said, what? I've been running away from all of you all my life. And I said, I belong to you. And the whole crowd laughed. Now, 8 weeks later, like I said, Andre's journey, this lady's journey, 8 weeks later, she never missed a single session. I said, what was your experience and why? Tell me something you learned in the program. And this process, the I belong to you, is what she said 8 weeks later.
Brilliant.
That I followed what you said. I'm sharing, teacher, participate. And she said, that day I was going to run away. I found it very uncomfortable to do what you are telling us to do. And then she said, but I stayed because the thought came in my head that the person who is running away from the cops is not in the room. And I was so touched that she not only experienced it, but she lived it. What she was 20 years ago, that person is not there now. So,
something on that.
Yeah.
See, this takeaway, no? Yeah. I think I know Arun Narayanan. This takeaway is a funny statement. Because I don't think in the programs that Mandar is talking about, programs I work with, there are no takeaways. There is only the person who comes in and the person who goes out. If the person who comes in participates and engages, the person who goes out is not the same person who came in. Yeah, takeaway is such a, it's like, I often say that takeaways become cold and leathery before you can eat them. Yeah, you either really participate and be changed in the engagement in these programs, right? Or nothing happens to you. There are no takeaways. Yeah, takeaway is a very grasping idea.
I completely agree with you. I had never thought about takeaway in that sense. But because we are also programmed, this westernized lingo and the jargons, that's where Arun's takeaway comes from. That,
See, what I find is, Mandar, people who come to a program with a takeaway mind, constantly looking and judging and saying, okay, this is good for me, let me pick it up. But the kind of person you're speaking about has just offered herself to experience the program, experience what you're saying, take it in, allow herself to be changed. Otherwise, that sequence is impossible. I didn't like what I heard. What you made me do was so difficult, but I'm willing to engage with it. Right? She's not there to take away anything. No, she's there to say, let me really come in and transform myself.
Yeah, and Petra, her name is Petra. So
interesting name, huh? Petra means stone.
Oh, is it? Petra. And she's a tall, heavy, scared I will be if I don't have inner guru with me. I will not be again in that neighborhood. But yes, Arun, people who have had the violent past, they are so close to love, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you don't go there with this mindset of I'm going to share or I'm going to teach them something and they're going to take away something. Not at all. Actually, you are taking something away from them. And counting your blessings that, I'm grateful I didn't have that journey. I didn't spend 7 years in a solitude room. So the takeaway is actually for us, Arun, what are we going to take away? Because these miseries are there. And how much more money are we going to earn? What are we doing in our life? So I feel like our takeaway should be, what am I committed to? What cause am I committed to? And that again links back to the leadership with purpose. That, okay, if you're part of an organization, whichever the organization may be, Infosys, Wipro, are you going there just a 8 to 5 job? Okay, that's fine. But that means your passion is somewhere else. You should think about, I'm spending 9 hours at workplace. How can I influence the Wipros and the Infosys to do more? Just business return, Q4 acha gaya. Kya hai ye? This is where a yogi needs to be awakened. And this is yoga in action. So my guru told me one thing. When you sit for meditation, right? Sit for meditation with the thought, everything is perfect as it is in the world. This is how it's supposed to be. And then you sit for meditation. Otherwise, meditation is not going to happen. But when your eyes are open, complete reverse. This is not okay. That's not okay. That's not okay. And I'm going to fix it. So that's a powerful teaching, right? It's not yoga and meditation, just enjoy and be happy. Great. Yes, it will be a gift. You will get it. But that's where I feel that inner peace and outer dynamism is how you should measure yourself as a yogi, not just inner peace. And so what has happened is, people who are doing Kaivalya Dham or XYZ yoga practice, we are going to inner well-being, our well-being, stretching it a little more, like company well-being, like personal, my colleagues' well-being, and a little bit more, like, okay, I'm part of the world. There's so many issues. What am I doing about that? And if you do not have that purpose, because that purpose is a long journey, right? You may be in workplace. If you have a social cause, you have to spend a little bit more time on that cause, but it will keep you going after retirement.
Yeah, it's getting to 9:30. Mandar, you want to take one more question?
Yes. You want to read it?
He's giving a follow-up. He says, were people more receptive because they had achieved some kind of vairagya? Your friends, the Andres of the world.
I can't answer. The answer doesn't come to me. Were people more receptive because they had achieved some kind of vairagya before they met me?
Before they met you. But yeah.
I can say for sure that people who came to the program, because the precondition was they have to watch my film. So the stimulus they already got, right? They had seen these people go to India, taught by Mandar, have transformed. That's why they came. So is that vairagya? I don't know. But a desire had come in them that I also want to.
So there's a beautiful Zen koan, Mandar. Might be that meaningful at this point. It says, when the chick is ready, it knocks from within, and the hen knocks from the outside, so the shell breaks.
I did not know this.
So maybe you were the shell breaking from the outside and they were knocking from the inside.
Yeah, but I mean, that is where, we are not here to convince anybody. Like that exactly. Is where
you can't. If something in that person is not receptive, yeah, how will they hear? No, they will hear something else. Yeah.
Just one more story.
Sure.
You have watched the film, so you have seen the transformation of Jason. I brought him to India another time.
Oh.
This time with a group of police officers. And as you know, he's a very powerful man. So I even brought him to the Los Angeles workshop, the workshop that I showed you. Still, he is not on the path that I want him to walk on. And that is my learning is, man, you cannot, even after these 3-4 like amazing experiences, that their life is unpredictable. You cannot have the same expectation. So one day I got a call from Jason because he had not called me back for 2-3 months. I was worried about him. So Raghu, he called me and he said, Mandar, I was in prison. So I said, prison? Like, what did you do now? What have you done? Anything? He said, no, Mandar, in California, if you get a traffic ticket, one way to, if you don't have money to pay traffic ticket, is to go do jail time. So, but his question, this was his question. He said, when I came out, I was shot at. So I said, like, what, dude? How are you? What happened? He said, when I came out, this second time, the traffic ticket violation time, he said, I had done some wrong things inside before, long time before. They were also released, but they didn't know I have changed.
Oh, wow.
So they shot me. And he asked me, hey, you taught us non-violence. What is this? Like, am I not supposed to defend myself?
Absolutely.
So, you know, that is where I felt like I cannot take Jason will be on this trend line. No, I cannot, because I cannot know his life.
Of course.
So we can only plant the seed. We can only do our job and be available. I think yoga teacher, just available. We are just available. We are waiting for that chicken, the whatever the thing to tuck, 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 and then we are ready. Tuck, 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 tuck. Till then, you cannot have an expectation of sorts on anything. So you move on. I think that is where for 20 years, I've taught thousands of people, thousands. And so, yes, you do get like, hey, where is everybody? But it's a lonely journey, man. Change making is a lonely journey. It's a lonely journey, and that's where you meet Raghu and you feel awesome. Awesome. You know, how many people are there like this? Like 20, 30, I don't know, 40, 50 years on this journey and still going. So that's what I feel we have to find each other. You know, we have to find each other, inspire each other, and you know, take me for ice cream when you meet me, and just
or Belpuri if I come to Bombay.
Yeah, Bombay Belpuri. Yeah. So Raghu, this was great, wonderful.
Yeah.
Namrata, are there any other questions, Namrata?
No, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You want to see the ad before we log off?
Oh yes. You got the Misfit ad?
Yeah, you can just tell me if it's the correct one, Mandarji.
It's a 1 minute ad, 1 minute.
Yeah. Is it this one?
Yeah, yes, yes. Raghu, just for some context before you watch. So this was the ad Steve Jobs used to launch the new Apple.
Ah, okay.
And so if you think the branding is called Think Different. And he spent a lot of time and money in this ad, making the ad. That's also another YouTube video. If you like Steve Jobs, you can watch it. But this ad, I watched it, I don't know, literally thousands of times. Play.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Yeah, I've seen this ad before. Yeah.
And Raghu, the thing I did in my innovation learning program is I showed this video. I used to show this video. And what I used to say is, in order to think different, you need to be different.
Yeah, you have to be different.
And that is allowing yourself to be different is an internal problem.
Yeah.
And so that is where I introduced meditation practice.
Beautiful. Great idea. Super. Thanks a lot, Mandar. I love this interaction, and we shall be in touch. And great. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Namrata, thank you for coordinating from the back
Thank
end.
you so much. It's a really enlivening conversation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Namrata is your fan now. We can see it in her eyes.
Please connect me with Arun. I liked his.
Arun, Sayantan. Yeah. We can have an offline discussion with all of them if they want. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Raghu, I had a 1 hour soulful chat with Ratish.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so we both. I told him I don't know who you are, but I trust Raghu. He has seen something. I don't know what that something is. And he apologized, like I didn't come on that call. I was in the UK or somewhere, so time zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very soulful, wonderful. What an amazing work he has been doing.
Absolutely.
I told him the temple idea, but I think we decided to park the temple idea outside of the conversation he and I had.
Okay.
Temple idea, he liked the idea. So please also follow up with him when you speak.
I'll do that.
And he said we have to do more manthan on this. Lot of
Correct.
Okay. All right. Namrata, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
On the call, no? Who was the person with the video audio?
Yeah, I'll just stop the recording with that.
I will message you on that WhatsApp when I'm in Parla.
Sure.
Okay. Good night,
All right.
both of you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thanks
you so
a lot.
much for that.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.